For pro football fans, this might be the best weekend of the NFL seasons. 4 games over 2 days will determine next week's conference championship games. Here to break it down are Brian Jones and Gregg Giannotti. Their show, Gio and Jones, can be heard every weekday morning on the CBS Sports Radio Network. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. This is late for us. We're up at 4 every morning, so this is great.
Thank you for staying up with us then. Well, let's talk about this weekend, because not only are people saying it's the 2 best days, a lot of people are saying this is the most even matchups we've seen in a while.
Yes, in the NFL, even when you think things are not going to be entertaining, it always turns out that way. Think about last Saturday. You had a terrible game the first game. The second game is 3 quarters of just total mess. And then you have a game that you're never going to forget between the Steelers and the Bengals. So these matchups on paper, a lot better than we had last week. They always deliver.
They do, and you've got 3 matchups that are rematchups from the regular season. Is that a word, rematchup?
Well, it is now.
Season?
I like it.
And you know what Tupac said? The sweetest joy is revenge. So we're going to see if some teams can exact some revenge against foes that beat them during the regular season.
All right, let's take these games in order. Kansas City versus New England. Kansas City, 10-game winning streak, but they're coming up against England. New England, the Super Bowl champs. So what do you see here?
Well, don't shortchange me, man. It's an 11-game winning streak, okay? I'm going to call you out because you always call me out on my college picks, right? So I got you. Yes, what a new year it is. I tell you what, Kansas City, the way they play defense, I love this defense. They get after the quarterback, and you know that offensive line for New England, they've been hampered for most of the season. Julian Edelman may come back. He's a great security blanket for Tom Brady, but it's going to come down to protecting Tom Brady. You got the Kansas City D, they were 3rd in sacks in the NFL, so that's going to be the key in my estimation.
Yeah, I don't have a Tupac quote to talk about the Patriots, but they are a mess right now. Yeah. Injuries. Now, they're getting some guys back. Julian Edelman, that's a big deal for Tom Brady, but Gronkowski's knee crops up. Bill Belichick had a black eye out of nowhere at a press conference. Nothing is going right for the Patriots, so we'll see if they can get back and be the New England Patriots, or maybe this just isn't one of those Patriot
Chandler
years.
Jones with the synthetic marijuana. I need to trade him to Colorado or Seattle, man. I mean, come on. Get the real stuff, baby.
Let's talk about Green Bay and the Cardinals, because this is a rematchup, as you put it.
Yep.
How do you see this one going?
Yeah, rematch up. Yeah. y'all can have that now. Okay. Well, you know, Cardinals owned Green Bay the last time. 9 sacks. More sacks than Green Bay had points. Only 8 points in that beatdown that the Cardinals put on them. But the Green Bay Packers played much better last week. And I know Washington hadn't defeated a team with a winning record during the regular season, but they went in there. They only allowed 1 sack. And this is another team, trouble on the offensive line. But Aaron Rodgers looked like the Aaron Rodgers of old. They were able to run the rock. That's going to be the key, balance on offense.
They look like the Packers of old and the Aaron Rodgers of old because of the opponent. And no offense to Washington Redskin fans, but they stink. They didn't deserve to be in the playoffs.
No offense, but you stink.
I'm sorry. They know it. The fans, they watch that team all year.
Say this is the game with the most potential for a blowout. Do you agree with that?
I think it will be. I don't think it'll be as bad as the last time they faced a 30-point deficit. But to me, this game, it's a mismatch. Arizona is a legit Super Bowl contender, and I think they're the most solid team on both sides of the ball that the NFL has to offer.
A ton of weapons on that offensive side of the ball. John Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, forget giving him that AARP card. Both 1,000-yard receivers on the season. And then you factor in the running game, and Carson Palmer's playing like he did during his Heisman campaign at USC.
All right, let's look at Seattle versus Carolina. Seattle barely got by Minnesota. They got a gift on that missed field goal, but Carolina's 15-1. So what do you see here?
I picked against Carolina every single week this season because I didn't believe in them. And then finally I said, all right, enough's enough. They're 15-1. So I can't pick against them today. But how could you pick against Seattle as well? I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers. Think about the Seattle Seahawks. Last year in the NFC Championship game, nobody thought they were going to win that game. And then last week, 27-yard field goal missed. But Carolina, to me, with Cam Newton, he's the best player in football right now. He's not going to lose this game. This is that special year where everything works out for a franchise. Carolina beats Seattle.
And by the way, that really hurt him. He's a lifelong Vikings fan.
Yeah,
so
I've got the scars to prove it.
Yes, you do. I tell you what, but real quick, Russell Wilson, the most maligned, disrespected quarterback in all the NFL. They always give the credit to the running game, which Marshawn Lynch does return, but he hasn't played since Week 10. We'll see how well he can affect change on this defense for Carolina. That's dynamite. 2 excellent defenses that'll knock the snot out of you.
Oh, you mentioned QB, so let's talk about Pittsburgh and Denver. You have Roethlisberger with a hurt shoulder, Manning with a hurt foot. How do you see this game?
Let's see, shoulder or foot?
Which is the worst injury?
Well, they're both beating not, but they're both pros, and they've seen a lot of football. They've seen a lot of schemes thrown at them, especially Peyton Manning. He's going to try to get rid of the football quickly. He's going to have a running game. And speaking of running game, the Steelers, they were committed to the run last week. 29 rushes in that ball game. TNT, Todman, and Toussaint, the young football player at the running back position. So they've got to be committed again at the run to take some pressure off of Ben going up against the NFL's best D.
And it's not the Ben injury that's a problem. It's D'Angelo Williams and those two young running backs have to step up. And Antonio Brown is out. One of my favorite players in the NFL, one of the most productive wide receivers I've ever seen. Yeah. He's not going to play against that Broncos defense. Tough
Brian
matchup.
And Gregg, will you come back for a rematch up?
A rematch.
The rematch up, sure.
Oh, yeah, y'all going to make fun of me now. So what? It's a word now.
Just reminded
Put it in the Urban Dictionary to rematch up.
Pretty bad.
Thank you, guys.
I embarrass you every morning.
It really was. I mean,
Thanks, guys. All right, you can catch the first of the divisional playoff games this afternoon at 4:35 Eastern Time right here on CBS. And tomorrow, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be in Denver to take on the Broncos at 4:40 Eastern Time.